Hello and welcome to this first impressions video on Prodigy. Prodigy is a turn-based tactics game by Hanakai Studios and just released a demo on Steam, free for everyone to check out. And in this video I'm gonna do just that. The game is still in development. The release is planned for the end of the year, going by the Steam page, and that's noticeable. There are missing descriptions, like in the bottom left corner of this main menu screen. Some units lack sound effects. The interface itself is pretty basic, and as you can see, the options menu lacks a lot of, options. Resolution, full screen on or off, and one single slider for sound. That's all, and that definitely has to be improved on. Content-wise, you only have access to 2 tutorial missions, training mode, which are normal fights against a relatively weak enemy, and bastion mode, which is a wave-based defense mode. So let's jump into a normal training match to show you the game. Currently, Prodigy features 2 arenas. Both are introduced with this short intro sequence here, showing the surroundings. The battlefield itself has 12 circles, or squares as they're called in tutorial. The first line gives your creatures a bonus on attack, the third one, the last one, on defense. In addition, the lines also determine the action order of all units. First line starts first. So let's go ahead and put some dudes down here. But, well, as you can see, there are no explanation to any of these units. I have no idea if there are any differences between them. Does one deal more damage, has special attacks, deals range damage only, works well as a tank? I have no clue, and there is no info to be found. So I'm just placing some guys down. Let's also include some humans. Here you have some, well, normal ones, and some that look like, I don't know, cats or something. I must say though, even if those humans have this Asia game look to it, for lack of better words, the monsters are pretty cool. The art is great, the animations, the character models. Positioning of the units in those squares is also important in regards to attacking. You're only able to attack the guy directly in front of you, in the same lane. You can of course move your units around, putting them in another square during the match when you're in your attack phase. Here we get another look at our team and at the cool character models. There are a lot of these video sequences during the match, but while they are looking nice, they're getting a little bit annoying after some time. More to that later. Our opponent fields a couple of Garlands, which I'll hopefully smash in the next couple of minutes. I'm attacking his turn and have to make the first choice. Attacking in Harmony or Dissonance stance. Harmony basically is the normal attack. Attacking with Harmony will create a field of Harmony on your side of the battlefield, a square of Harmony, and using it for defense increases your protection against the enemy's attack. Dissonance is a high risk, high reward matter. You deal more damage when attacking and get a counter-attack chance when defending. The downside is, using it creates a field of dissonance, which not only blocks certain abilities and the calling in of reinforcements. Now, having a big amount of those fields, or squares with dissonance, may also lead to a massive explosion of dissonance, damaging your whole team. Not that great, obviously. Now it's Rota's turn. I'm defending. Notice how I've no idea who exactly is attacking me? There is no indicator at all. I have to guess it by looking at the field and or noticing the attacker has lost health already and therefore just has to be the little goblin I just attacked previously. Considering he can't attack Rota from here, since it's in another lane, I'll try to defend my human warrior by activating the group defense. Notice the small symbols next to the character portraits. I use the respective skill symbol to target my warrior, and then choose the dissonance stance. The issue now is, hey, this guy doesn't even attack Orin Aki, he attacks my poor little Lance Rider on the right. How am I supposed to know this? I have no idea. So obviously the poor Crag can't defend himself and takes a lot of damage. Ouch. As I said, you can move around your miniatures in your attack phase. So far, so good. It's just getting annoying when something like this happens. I guess that's a deliberate mechanic choice. On top of that, my enemy calls in some reinforcements. That's just cannon fodder, of course. I will show him. And again, the attack animations, these short sequences, look really cool. Granted, the texture quality of the units could be a little bit higher, but it doesn't take away much of the great feel. Make sure to pay attention to the attack of my flying dog, I suppose, later on. It looks really cool. The downside is, and I mentioned this before, I can't skip those. There are so many of them to constantly start of new turn, attack, defense, end of turn, events. Man, that's just, it slows down the game. It breaks the flow, making me watch these sequences again and again in between actions. Half of the match I'm just watching those, looking at my guys running around the field. That's cool at first, but annoying after a few minutes, after a few turns. I'm really hoping for an option to simply disable all these animations. There is no way I would play a whole campaign, a whole story campaign, or even play regular multiplayer matches like this with all of these animations going on all the time. Crag at least got his revenge here and killed the guy, and while I would have preferred to see the enemy fall over right away, I must say I like the dissolving effect too. Again, we don't know precisely who's attacking us, and notice how there's no sniper in the same lane as our flying dog Onosani, but we can assume they're going after Crag. Again. So I activate this group defense again, hoping to block some damage, which didn't go so well. Plus the dude got poisoned. Definitely not his day. I'm just gonna switch lanes with this guy now and look at this cool flying animation. Ha! Got him. Seeing this lonely Gerling here now on the left, a few words about the squares, the circles again. If one of your units is in a lane with no opposing enemies, you can use the Harmony or Dissonance stance to heal yourself instead of attacking. Dissonance here will again provide a better result, but comes with the risk of damaging yourself, as always. Some skills also require Harmony squares before you can use them. Aside from the grouped defense I already showed, there are also grouped counterattacks in Dissonance stance as well as affinity attacks, meaning an attack by several of your guys together. You will see one of those later in the video. Now you can see what happens if you're using Dissonance too often. An explosion rolls over my entire team, but fortunately doesn't deal too much damage. Poor little Crag is almost done for though. Okay, he's completely done now. Fortunately, I can also bring in reinforcements, not just the enemy, if I have an unoccupied Harmony square. So let's move Rota over here to the right, where the enemy is strongest, and call in someone new, this wonderful big guy. Well, they didn't quite kill the guy, unfortunately. He's got a few health points left. Damn. With Onosani now I do something new. I trigger his skill. That means I can't attack with him this turn, but will do a lot more damage next time. I may have said it before, but I really like that model. Like, it's just so cool, this weird flying dog and his animation. Not like the humans, which I'll find kinda boring, I must say. At least you can now see a successful counter-attack I triggered by protecting Rota with Orin. I took almost no damage and slapped him in the face. If just these animations would be more fluent after each other instead of having this short break in between. But seems like there's no time for celebrations now. That triggered another explosion. Well, at least we'll be able to kill the tiny girl in at the front row now. and that triggered an infinity attack. Look at that. I have no clue where that came from, but I take it, I happily take it. I admit I didn't quite understand all the rules and the mechanics yet. There are a couple of cases where units affect each other, use these grouped attacks for example, and I don't know exactly how to achieve this. Even after playing the tutorial, I may have to play it again. Because the tutorial isn't bad, but it's very restrictive, I find. It only gives you very specific options, and instead of like choosing from several. While this alone wouldn't be a big problem, I still find there are information lacking during the match. It starts with the miniatures right at the start, as mentioned, and then continues with the various abilities, the effects, and the "who is currently targeting me" question. I'd like to see a little bit more in terms of usability, tooltips, etc. in the final game. Anyway, we're clearly nearing the end here. I got the sorcerers as reinforcement and... well, I just lost my dear Rota to an enemy counterattack. He was a pretty useful character though, took a lot of damage, dealt a lot of damage. And has a cool death animation, I didn't see that before. Nice. Alright, I think I covered what I wanted to say, and can come to a short conclusion now. The game looks promising, and as a fan of turn-based tactics game, this seems to be right up my alley. There's still a lot to be done, though. The early stage of development is clearly visible in the main menu, or when looking at the blocky, very temporary interface, text boxes here. Prodigy clearly needs more polish, but that's something the devs certainly are aware of. My main negative points at the moment are the lack of, and the quality of, the information, the explanations, the tooltips, etc. I'd like to see more information about the creatures I'm controlling, their supposed roles in the team. Are you a tank? Are you a damage dealer? Whatever. And also, of course, about the enemies I'm facing. I know this guy has a ranged weapon, but there's like more to it. There's different kind of close combat units, for example, here we're facing. It would also be nice to be able to move the camera around and to zoom in on your monsters, for example, just for this extra bit of visual awesomeness. And important, definitely, I want to have the option to skip these cutscenes. Don't get me wrong, they look really great, the character models and animations are certainly worth looking at even several times if you want, but it just gets too much. I want to play the game and not constantly watch these attack or defense sequences. The game needs to feel smoother, have more of a flow instead of having these regular interruptions in my gameplay. It looks they're on the right way though. I'm curious about future content, especially regarding the promised story campaign. If you want to try the game yourself, head on over to Steam and download the free demo. And if you want to know more about the game, you can find the link to the official website in the description of this video. Worth mentioning before finishing this video, this game seems to be the result of a successful Kickstarter campaign from a few years ago. The Kickstarter page, which I also link in the description, shows actual physical miniatures and cards used on electronic boards to play this video game with. I didn't research that further, so take a look at it yourself if you're interested. The game here I'm presenting, is a normal video game though. There is no additional equipment, no miniatures or anything required to play. Thank you very much for watching this first impression video. I hope to see you again next time.